秋天要到了，冷天一步步的逼近，这时候职场上也出现了一个非常有趣的现象，它叫做 cuffing。那今天就让我们来了解到底什么是 job cuffing， 也让主管们做好准备。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast。我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. Today, we want to talk about something that most people only know in terms of a Beyoncé song, cuffing, or as the Queen Bee says, cuff it. Although a lot of Beyoncé songs have to do with connection, putting a ring on it.
Yeah.
So within that theme, we want to talk about cuffing, but not necessarily the romantic type, but actually job cuffing.
Right. So there is a term that's called cuffing seasons. Now, I thought it was really interesting to kind of explain what this means first. So I think everyone can understand, that basic needs of security, especially when it's cold outside. Maybe in Taiwan, not super obvious. 但是在美国的时候，你这种强烈的感觉就是冬天要到了，然后你会觉得说我很想要那种很安全的感觉。那你需要安全感觉，如果你这个时候又正好还没有一个工作的话，那当然很多人这个时候就会开始去找工作。So like the number of people that's actually submitting their resume looking for a job, that number spiked during the full time.
So in terms of the romantic, it makes a lot of sense because it's holiday season. No one wants to go to like a Halloween party, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, into Valentine's Day. Like this
sucks.
Is a time of the season where either A, you don't want to go by yourself, or B, you don't want to have a lot of family go like, so you're just back yourself again this year.
I know. I have a son. I can introduce you guys.
Right.
It's the worst. Like Thanksgiving, Christmas, 然后一直 New Year, 然后 Valentine's Day. 这个时候我觉得如果你是 single 的话，大家都有点不太舒服, right? There's so many like celebration outside and a lot of these restaurants and like stores that would put up all these different decorations to celebrate and you just feel like crap the whole time.
And actually, somewhat parallel to that in terms of job cuffing, a lot of people are typically looking for better jobs for very similar reasons. You go home and be like, so what have you been up to? What's been going on? How's the work? How's the job? Then people want to, show they have stability, they have a good job. But that also means that at the end of the year, companies are revisiting budgets, right? Bonuses are going to come into play. So I think in Taiwan, maybe this phenomenon comes a little bit later because everyone sticks through their job through Chinese New Year and then gets their bonus and jumps off. And then they find new jobs and you get this really weird thing where a bunch of people leave, companies need people, they hire a bunch of people. But then getting into the theme of today, what has to do with cuffing is, are you making these decisions because it's the season for either finding a partner work-wise or romantically? Or are you actually making long-term decisions about this is the right time to find the job I want? Or this is the right time for employers to retain those best employees and make sure that they feel valued in case they're getting a little bit antsy about their next job move?
Right. So I think the fun part about this, or the dangerous part about having this cuffing seasons, is that people may jump into relationship or a job just basically because they feel lonely or they just feel like they needed to have a job to hold them through the winter time. 所以这个时候可能他做的这个决定是有一点急的，他可能没有想得非常的清楚。所以呢，在这个时候呢，在 springtime 的时候，可能在 Valentine's Day 之后啊，开始你会发现，诶，花开始开了，小鸟都出来了。这个时候就很多人就开始会离开那个工作 or break up the relationship.This
is not a relationship podcast. I'm sure you can find more information about that. But let's talk about when it comes to setting the right intentions, setting the right goals, and for job cuffing. How do you retain your best employees? Or when you go through this cycle of, okay, people are looking for something towards the end of the year, maybe a better position, how do you make sure that you're attracting the right person and you're holding the right person? So come, let's say, after Chinese New Year or after spring comes, they don't go, okay, well, that was fun, but not for me.
Exactly. 没错，所以这个部分呢，我们就开始来聊一下，如果你今天是主管，你或者你是 CEO 或 HR， 你要怎么样留住人才？It's about keeping the right people on board. And of course, in addition to give them good salary, we also needed to think about certain plan or program to kind of reactivate their motivation so that they will see themselves in the company for a long time.
And this also comes in terms back to that idea of season. It's usually towards the end of the year. It's crunch time. People are trying to clean up Q4, make sure their numbers come in right, do all of their work before the holiday season starts, make sure that they're bonus. But this is also a time where people can start to get burned out. And if they're not shown they're appreciated or they're not shown that there's a pathway for improvement, they may start to feel unmotivated. So part of that question becomes, what kind of programs are in place or what kind of communication do you have with your employees to make sure that that motivation goes through the end of the year, but it also reminds them that, okay, starting next year, it's fresh, we're thinking about what our goals are.
So speaking of goals, we actually did a goal setting episode on 33. That was a long, long time ago. And we talked about SMART goals. So SMART goals, quickly, it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. 那这个 situation 当中，因为我们公司管理的这个团队，他们也必须要完成一个等于说是 like a learning plan。那我就发现，其实大部分的人真的还是不太确定该怎么样来设定目标。And that's why I really think I wanted to refresh this idea just briefly in this episode.
The goal behind this becomes, okay, if you get in front of your employees, whether you're a manager or some kind of corporate HR, and you tell them, okay, I need a learning plan. You need to fill out this learning plan so that we can work with you in order to better improve. But one of the things that I experienced recently is that within that learning plan, they're a little bit vague. They're just like, you need to learn something, you need to show us what you want to learn. And then two, the motivation for what they want to do. Like in this case is maybe they're looking at certain more cutthroat company cultures like Amazon, where it's just like cut the bottom 15%. You gotta go and grow and beat everyone else. And this is how you climb that corporate ladder. But in the case of working with the team, the motivation for us is actually, how do you work better together? And then two, you need to have a very specific set of guidelines in order to set your goal.
Exactly. So sometimes, if you're lucky that the teams and the corporate office or the HR, your goal is aligned. Sometimes not so much. For our examples, we had to actually specify a lot of things to our staff to tell them exactly what we want. Because what we want is for the team to have that team spirit, to raise the morale, for them to work together. Because we have a pretty compact team, but they do a lot of things. So it's not about crushing someone or get on top. It's about working together. So when they set the goal, it's going to be a little bit different. So one thing, okay, I'm going to give an example. 那这个 goal 呢，是常常很多人他可能会下的目标，那我觉得跟学习语言也非常的相关。比如说就是我希望我的英文能力能够进步，我希望能够在开会的时候都听得懂大家在说什么。那这个 goal 我觉得 OK, it's a great goal。但是如果我们仔细的去想，你要怎么去 define 这个 goal 的话，是不是能够用一些更具体的方式呢？
And this comes into that first thing, S, specific, where, okay, having better English sounds great. It even sounds like, okay, so that I can listen in any meeting. But even defining that a little bit more carefully, what kind of meeting? Are you talking about a technical meeting? Are you talking about the first time that you're meeting a client meeting? Are you talking about a special request? Because the language will change. If it's the first time that you're meeting, let's say, a client, then most of your conversations are going to be a bit more general. It's really about knowing the company, the product, and the specific, let's say, sales pitch. Knowing these things and the common type of questions, that's one level of English that you may need. But let's say that this is already a client and they have a technical issue. The type of language, the vocabulary, the ways you're going to have to console them if they're having a problem and are really upset, that's a different level of language. So to this idea of being specific in your goals, you have to think very carefully about the scenarios that you're diving into.
Exactly. And that tied to the second one, which is measurable. 当如果你的目标没有非常的明确，就是像刚刚 Nick 所讲的，你只想说听得懂 meeting， 但是这个是什么 meeting？ 什么时候你会参加这个 meeting？ 什么性质的 meeting？ 如果你不确定的话，你也不知道怎么样去 measure你到底做到了什么，因为你可能永远都会觉得我的英文就是不够好，我可能他这个人就算讲了3个字我听不懂这3个字，那就代表说我的英文不够好吗？还是我觉得我听得懂 50% 了，我英文变好了。 Like you don't really know where you stand unless you be very specific, and if you're not specific, you cannot measure them.
When it comes to measurable, back to our example of improved English related to a meeting, how do you measure that?
Yeah.
Right? If it's just a personal thing, be like, I think I understood everything, then that's internal and it's not really something that you can quantify.
Yeah.
But in the case of, okay, something I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the meeting notes, whether it's the official ones or a personal, and then I'm going to find someone in the meeting to confirm that's what actually happened. Right? So that might be a way to measure it, is I went from, okay, my meeting notes, I really didn't get all the main points or I didn't catch everything, to someone says, oh, great, please send that to the team or please send that to the client because it's an accurate description. So that's something I could measure, the change in there. Or in the case of one person on the team who has to write a lot of either social media or press release articles. Currently, I end up editing a whole lot of them, right? Whether it's restructure the thought process or edit the grammar or language, something that could be measurable is simply like, how much does an outside person like myself have to edit, as opposed to, oh, okay, like 99% of it is good. I tweaked a few things, you send it out. But showing that progression from, oh, someone used to rewrite 50%, or it took them a week in order to edit that down to, I email it to them, an hour later they can go, oh, great, and then go, right? That's something I can measure.
And now I need to talk about achievable as well, but I feel like achievable also has something to do with time, right? I mean, they're all connected after all. So when it comes to, okay, so let's say 我们只有剩下 Q4, 3 months, not a lot of time, 3 months of time. 什么样才叫做 achievable? 所以这个时候你就会想说，在这3个月当中，我要怎么进步，才是我可以很具体的，我能够去 measure 它，而且是可行的。你不要给自己设定一个完全不可能的目标。当你觉得英文不够好，你就要去做一个 full English presentation to the CEO。那当然可能这个目标就会太高了。So again, that has to be something that's achievable, but considering the time that you have.
Right. So if someone's like, I want to increase my sales by 150%, be like, you have literally 1 quarter. So if you're not at 125% already, what are you going to achieve? So understanding the achievable, and back to that specific thing. Achievable has to be tied to specific. If I'm just like, I want to improve my English, I'm not measuring it, I actually don't know if I can achieve it because I haven't a very specific thing that's going to improve. It's not a general, I want to improve my language. It might be in meetings. I want to make sure I understand all of the key points and key contents. Then I can decide whether I achieved it or not. Back to, did I take notes? I caught everything in the meeting versus I took notes and someone's like, yeah, you kind of missed ABC. Kind of point, right? So that achievable and that specific and measurable really get tied together. If I don't know what I'm trying to achieve or I'm not being specific about what I want to do and I can't measure it, then I don't know if I can achieve it or not.
Right, exactly. And of course, relevancy. It's obviously really important as well. So again, for someone that her job is to do social media and press release in a short amount of time, what's relevant is going to be specifically what you do every day, right? If you set a goal, let's say you wanted to give this presentation to CEO, but you have never done it before, and that's not part of your job, then that's not really relevant for the time being.
Right. So I don't know why you're trying to achieve this thing. Or again, it's like, let's say this person's doing mostly social media and they're like, I want to understand meetings better. Be like, but how many meetings do you join? Right? Is that critical to your job function versus becoming a better copywriter? Maybe it's not actually an English problem. It's that your English is too formal and you're not learning how to be a good copywriter. So rather than worry about my speaking and listening in meetings, it should be, okay, my job responsibility is to do these things. I want to become a really, really good headline writer for LinkedIn. So wrapping this back into why are we talking about SMART goals in terms of cuffing? Well, when you sit down with your team and you try and figure out what do they want to achieve by the end of the year so that they know that they've made it, you know that there's been some kind of transition in what they do, or even planning out next year, whether it's a new person or an old person, this is the perfect time of year to sit down and go, okay, here's all the things that I've really seen you improve on. Here are the things that I would like to see going forward. Let's sit down and set a goal that works for both for the function of your job, but also for your own growth, whether it's your career growth or personal growth that you want to achieve. Starting to set these goals now helps you get through that fall season where it's crunch time. People may not know what they're working for all the time or planning out next year so that they don't go, oh, thanks for the bonus, I gotta go. How do you recreate that motivation of, okay, I worked really hard, I got this far in my career, what do I want to do next?
I think in addition to salary that we're satisfied with, I think most people wanted to feel that sense of accomplishment from the job. 那当然透过这个设定目标，达成目标，那当你达成目标，你一定会有那种非常觉得自己好像真的 accomplish 一件事情了。So I think helping your employees to have that sense of accomplishment in addition to, good money, it's incredibly important. And that's really going to hold them in that position for a longer time.
We hope that you enjoyed this. Go back and you can review nearly 300 episodes again, number 33, if you want more details about SMART Goal. Otherwise, think about what is it you want to work on with your team by the end of the year so that they feel motivated and they feel appreciated. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production. Produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.